June 18, 2025, an extraordinary day at the White House, one that would be remembered for years to come. On this historic morning, President Donald Trump welcomed Pakistan's top military leader, Field Marshal Asim Munir, for a meeting that broke all precedent and captured the attention of the world's diplomatic circles. For the first time ever, a Pakistani army chief met a sitting U.S. president alone, without the presence of Pakistan's civilian officials. This was more than a diplomatic formality, it was a clear signal of shifting priorities and a new approach to international engagement. The two leaders spent hours in private discussion, moving seamlessly from a working lunch to the Oval Office. Their conversations focused on forging a new era of partnership, with candid exchanges about security, trade, and the evolving geopolitical landscape. This direct engagement recognized the central role of Pakistan's military in regional stability and strategic decisions, acknowledging the influence and responsibility that comes with such power. The meeting aimed to move beyond the old frameworks of aid and counterterrorism, seeking instead a resilient alliance built on mutual respect, shared security interests, and expanding economic opportunities for both nations. Relations had been strained for years, especially under the previous U.S. administration, with mistrust and miscommunication clouding the partnership. But this meeting was a deliberate reset, a chance to turn the page and start anew. Both sides looked to the future, exploring new avenues for cooperation to stabilize not just their own ties but the wider region. Discussions included regional security, economic development, and the potential for joint initiatives in technology and education. President Trump's warm reception and praise for Munir as a visionary leader underscored the personal chemistry that developed between them, setting a positive tone for future engagements. The meticulously planned event set the stage for what many believe could be a transformative era in U.S. Pakistan relations, with hopes high on both sides for a partnership defined by trust, collaboration, and shared progress. The road to this historic meeting was paved by a crisis. Just weeks earlier, India and Pakistan teetered on the edge of war. In early May 2025, deadly attacks in Kashmir triggered airstrikes and missile exchanges, raising fears of nuclear escalation. President Trump intervened, claiming he personally convinced both Field Marshal Munir and Prime Minister Modi to de-escalate. His efforts, he said, were decisive in ending the four-day conflict. In gratitude, Munir nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize, a public acknowledgement of his role as mediator. This dramatic episode built trust between Trump and Munir, directly leading to the White House invitation. The meeting was not routine diplomacy but a direct result of successful crisis management. The near-war experience underscored the need for strong, direct communication, now formalized in Washington. While Trump and Pakistan credited U.S. mediation for halting the conflict, India told a different story. India's foreign secretary denied any third-party involvement, insisting the ceasefire was achieved through direct military talks between India and Pakistan. Prime Minister Modi echoed this, saying U.S. mediation was never discussed. India's stance highlighted its policy of resolving disputes bilaterally, without outside interference. These conflicting narratives created a diplomatic puzzle. Was it Trump's intervention or direct talks that stopped the war? The truth may lie somewhere in between. Trump's influence may have set the stage, but the final ceasefire came through military channels. Regardless, the perception of Trump's role was what mattered for U.S.-Pakistan ties. The outcome, a dangerous conflict halted, paved the way for the landmark Washington meeting. In diplomacy, perception often shapes reality. For the U.S. and Pakistan, this shared narrative became the catalyst for a new partnership. At the White House, Trump and Munir charted a bold new course, pivoting from old security frameworks to economic partnership. This meeting marked a significant shift, as both leaders recognized the need to move beyond traditional alliances and embrace a future defined by shared prosperity and innovation. They discussed joint ventures in minerals, exploring opportunities to tap into Pakistan's vast natural resources and attract American investment to fuel growth. High-tech sectors like cryptocurrency and data centers were highlighted as engines of future economic collaboration, with both sides eager to harness digital transformation. And traditional industries such as oil, gas, and real estate remained central, providing a stable foundation for this new partnership. The economic agenda was ambitious, aiming to create durable, mutually beneficial ties that would stand the test of time and global uncertainty. Regional security was also on the table as both leaders understood that economic progress depended on stability and peace in the region. Munir urged Trump to seek a ceasefire in the Iran-Israel conflict, emphasizing the importance of diplomatic solutions over military escalation. He encouraged the U.S. to avoid direct military involvement, advocating for restraint and dialogue to prevent further instability. Pakistan's unique perspective on Iran was highlighted, offering valuable context and regional expertise to the discussions. This positioned Pakistan as a key source of insight, able to bridge divides and foster understanding between nations. Counterterrorism cooperation remained a pillar of the relationship, with both countries reaffirming their commitment to fighting extremism. But the focus was on building a broader, more resilient alliance, one that could adapt to new global challenges. Trump thanked Munir for Pakistan's efforts against terrorism, acknowledging the sacrifices made and the progress achieved. This validated Pakistan's role as a regional security partner, reinforcing trust and cooperation at the highest levels. The comprehensive agenda, spanning economics, diplomacy, and security, signaled a shared desire for a multifaceted partnership that could shape the future. This meeting was about building a strategic alliance for the 21st century, laying the groundwork for a new era of cooperation and shared vision. The White House meeting brought together a select group of influential figures from both nations. On the U.S. side, President Trump, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff, whose personal connections helped facilitate the talks. Pakistan's delegation was led by Field Marshal Munir, joined by Lieutenant General Asim Malik, head of intelligence and national security advisor. The presence of military and intelligence chiefs signaled that this was more than ceremony, it was about real decision-making. The groundwork was laid through discreet planning, including a quiet visit by a senior Pakistani general weeks before. Personal and business relationships played a key role in making the meeting happen. The composition of the delegations reflected a new, pragmatic approach: direct communication and tangible outcomes over bureaucracy. These were the architects of a partnership built on trust and authority. The June 18th meeting marked a turning point, ending years of mistrust and signaling a fresh start. The new relationship moves beyond transactional security cooperation, focusing instead on economic partnership and shared geopolitical interests. Investments in minerals, technology, and energy are at the heart of this vision, aiming for deeper, more stable ties. The personal rapport between Trump and Munir is key, smoothing over disagreements and enabling direct diplomacy. By engaging the military directly, the U.S. acknowledged Pakistan's real power dynamics. For Washington, it means re-engaging a pivotal regional player. For Islamabad, it's a diplomatic victory and a path to economic growth. The shift from managing problems to building partnership is the central narrative of this new era. Both sides are betting on a more collaborative, forward-looking future. The new alliance faces major tests, chief among them, managing ties with China and Iran. These relationships are not just about diplomacy, but about navigating a complex web of economic interests, security concerns, and shifting global power dynamics. Pakistan's deep economic links with China, especially through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, mean it must balance both superpowers. Billions of dollars in infrastructure and trade flow through this partnership, making China a critical economic lifeline for Pakistan's future development. Islamabad's no-camp policy aims to avoid choosing sides, seeking productive ties with both Washington and Beijing. This delicate balancing act is central to Pakistan's foreign policy, as it tries to maximize benefits from both relationships without alienating either power. For the U.S.-Pakistan partnership to work, Washington must accept Pakistan's ongoing relationship with China. Only by acknowledging these realities can the U.S. hope to build genuine trust and cooperation with Islamabad. Iran adds another layer of complexity. Its regional ambitions and tense relations with the West make it a challenging neighbor for Pakistan to manage. Pakistan's long border and diplomatic ties give it unique insight into Tehran's politics. This proximity means Islamabad is often drawn into regional disputes, but also offers opportunities for dialogue and de-escalation. Munir's recent meeting with Iran's military chief, just before his death in an Israeli strike, positioned Pakistan as a potential mediator. Such high-level engagement underscores Pakistan's ability to act as a bridge between rival powers. This could be a valuable asset for the U.S. as tensions in the Middle East rise. Pakistan's unique position may help diffuse crises and open channels for negotiation. Munir's advice to Trump, pushing for a ceasefire, showed Pakistan's willingness to play a constructive regional role. It also highlighted Islamabad's desire to be seen as a responsible and influential actor on the world stage. Navigating these relationships will test whether the new alliance can become a stabilizing force in a fragmented world. Success will depend on flexibility, mutual respect, and a willingness to engage with all sides, even when interests diverge. The Trump-Munir meeting sent shockwaves through South Asia and beyond. A revitalized U.S. Pakistan partnership could shift the regional balance, prompting India to rethink its own alliances. In the Middle East, Pakistan's ties to both Saudi Arabia and Iran make it a potential mediator as U.S.-Iran tensions flare. The alliance also counters China's growing influence, giving Pakistan leverage with both superpowers. For the U.S., a cooperative Pakistan means a strategic foothold in a critical region. Inside Pakistan, the military's international prestige has soared, strengthening its domestic position. Promised economic investments have sparked public optimism. The success of this alliance will shape Pakistan's politics and regional dynamics for years to come. The June 18 White House meeting was more than a diplomatic gesture. It was the foundation for a new era. Trump and Munir's direct engagement set a tone of collaboration, born from a crisis averted and aimed at a stable future. Stronger communication channels now position both nations to manage future crises, from South Asia to the Middle East. The Nobel Peace Prize nomination for Trump, though symbolic, highlighted the stakes and the desire to prevent future conflicts. The shift to economic partnership is the most promising change, anchoring the relationship in mutual benefit. A more prosperous, stable Pakistan aligns with U.S. goals for the region. The world will be watching to see if this new foundation delivers lasting peace and shared prosperity.